Good morning, everybody. This is the Made in Paradise podcast. I'm your host, John Clark, along with my co-hosts, Anthony Ferguson and Darren Fingleton. We're here every day, Monday through Friday, talking about life and love and everything in between. This podcast is sponsored by Proven Performer, which happens to be the three of us as well. We sell big closeout deals, and we'll talk to you about one at the end of this show. But right now, I'm going to talk about something that I did that I probably shouldn't have done. And that is, both of you know that I've created over the years thousands of spiritually based memes, right? So just memes with wisdom quotes or spiritual quotes or things like that. Thousands over the years. So I was in this Reddit group for my guru, a group of people that follow my guru. I was in this Reddit group, and an individual in that group said, John, please post your stuff over in the spirituality group, which is just general spirituality, right? So we're not talking now about my guru, but we're talking about just overall spirituality. So whatever you would define that as, you can imagine what that's like on Reddit, right? And so I went in and looked around a little bit, and I thought, okay, well, we got some pretty diverse viewpoints being expressed here, which is fine. That's great. So maybe they'll be receptive. So I thought I'll just choose one meme that I made before, and I'll post it just to see what kind of reaction or response I get to posting it. And this was the one I chose. Love all men as God, even if they hurt you or shame you, be like Gandhi in Christ. And you would have thought that I had posted one of the most offensive things that had ever been posted in the history of posting. I had, I don't know, I'm going to call it 50 or 60 comments to be conservative of people who were upset in one way or the other about this particular meme. And I didn't think that this would be that unpopular. I really honestly didn't think, but just at large, even though this is popular with folks who follow my guru and some folks who follow Jesus and some folks who are okay with Gandhi, just as for the general public, this is borderline offensive. And so the number one thing that's really offensive to the general public about this is love everybody. And so that's the number one thing that my guru said. Before anything else, he said, love everybody. And if you say that to the common person, they would say, that's not possible. How can you love everyone? And that's because we have a misconception of the word love, which has a whole bunch of different meanings. People say, I love my wife, and I love my children, and I love my mother, and I love my cousin, and I love my brand new Porsche 911, and I love my PlayStation. And my guru says, love everybody. And what does he mean? And so that might be, for some people, very complicated for all kinds of reasons. But I wanted to clarify that one point to the two of you and say, this is really how you love everybody. You do whatever is best for that person in the moment, regardless of or not disregarding what's best for you, but not including yourself in a selfish way. Do you understand what I mean by that? So if I have to, and I did have to arrest people in a previous career, right? And so those people had to be arrested. That didn't mean I couldn't do it in a loving way. And it was my mentor who really taught me that. This is the best thing that's going to happen for this person, the person around him. This is loving. This is the best thing that's going to happen, right? This is what's best for everybody. I don't have to put any emotion onto it, but this is loving. And you got me the other day, another episode, Anthony, to quote all of 1 Corinthians 13, which talks about love is patient, love is kind, doesn't envy, it doesn't boast, it's not proud. All of those things are a decision that we make. That's what's best for the other person, right? It's saying to love someone is to make the decision that's best for them. Other kinds of love, romantic love, right? That's a whole other thing. It's a completely different thing. This is not the kind of love everybody that the saints talk about. The love everybody, Jesus says, love your neighbor as yourself. And consequently, you can't love anyone more than you love yourself. Right?
Right.
Love your neighbor as yourself, and you cannot love anyone any more than you love yourself. At whatever level you love yourself, that's how you can love others. If you love yourself perfectly, then you become perfect love. Then you are Christ.
Right. And I think even praying for someone else is a way to present love, right? Isn't it?
That's right. That's right. Love. The thought of love is love, but it's what I call unadulterated, right? It means it's not diluted with anything. Selfless love, agape, is what the original scripture, which is Greek, calls it. Unconditional love without condition, right? No greater love than this, than one man lay down his life for his brother, right? Give your life for someone, the ultimate act of love, the ultimate act of sacrifice, right?
Right, I agree.
All right. So, Anthony Ferguson, what do you have for us today?
So yesterday, before the podcast, we were talking about things related to astrology and stuff like that. So could you explain what Vedic astrology is?
So we're used to your horoscope in the newspaper in the West and the whole Western world. We're used to, you read down and you have your horoscope sign. Both of you are Pisces, right? And I'm Virgo, right? So you just go look up one of your 12 signs there, and it gives you some information that is, let's call it vague at best. And the reason I would call it vague at best is if you compare various horoscopes, they will be completely and utterly different, one from the other.
I feel like it's like a fortune cookie.
Yeah.
Get it out.
And so in India, I have a whole different type of astrology that's extremely precise, called Vedic astrology. And it has been talked about by many different saints. One of those saints is Sri Yukteswar Giri, who was Yogananda of Autobiography of a Yogi. Yogananda's guru was Sri Yukteswar, and he wrote a book called The Holy Science about astronomy and all of the positions of the stars and the ages that they believe that we are in. Om Swami is another living saint who, even as a child, was very fascinated by it because they believe it's a pattern of the life that you're born under. And so it's not destiny and it's not fate. It's like the weather of your life that you're born under. Sometimes the weather's going to be good and fortunate, and other times the weather's going to be heavy and repressive and negative, because we're here to go through different cycles of life to learn different things. And so in Vedic astrology, you have periods of your life and then sub-periods of your life and what all of those things mean. And I spent about 3 years with a Vedic astrologer who was actually a Jewish guy who had studied both in India and the United States. He studied for 12 years to get his degrees, to be able to read those charts and to be able to make predictions about the seasons and the weather of life for me. And over the course of me working with him, I would say that he was 75% accurate.
Okay, so can astrology predict important life events?
That depends on if you believe it can or not. And when you're talking to people who are only familiar with Western astrology, who've never heard of Vedic astrology before, you're talking to people that have never heard it before, it sounds completely crazy. But this is a very simple exercise you can do with your favorite artificial intelligence. Just get your birth date, whatever that happens to be, the time of your birth, and the place of your birth. And you go to whatever artificial intelligence and just type in, I was born at this time at this place, at this date, and please tell me what my Vedic profile is. Anyone can go do that. And then they can just read, for themselves and discover about themselves. In fact, there was a guy that works at Google. He has a house here in Costa Rica, and he goes back and forth. And you remember I talked about his 90-year-old father-in-law was the guy that died, right? Just recently. Remember I talked about that in the other episode. And so he works at Google. And so I was showing this to him. He goes, "You're kidding me, right? I never heard of this before." I said, no, try it. Try it. And he was completely shocked and amazed, right? Because they're just going through the family and putting all the information in. And it's much more accurate about who you are than regular astrology is. But you can just use your whatever AI is your favorite one and try it out yourself.
Right. What's the most accurate prediction you ever seen?
Failure of a partnership.
Can you explain a little bit more about that?
Well, what would you like me to explain about it? I mean, it was a partnership that failed. It was someone that it had predicted would become treacherous, and that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened.
Timing? Did it get like a timing?
Yeah, it was within a 90-day window.
Wow.
Okay, so what is?
And this was not. By the way, this was with Barry, not with an artificial intelligence, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, John, what is the strongest evidence supporting Vedic astrology?
I think again, type that into your AI and just see what it says. The anything that's any kind of a system, whether it's tarot or whether it's pendulums or any of those kind of things, they operate off of your intention, right? So for some people, they look at a system of divination of some kind and say, well, that's just foolishness. Okay, great, foolishness.
Right.
But the greatest evidence of anything is whether it works for you or not. And if you're gonna be honest with yourself about it works for you, well, you have to track it and make notes. And that's what I did with Barry for 3 years. So you can go online and you can find all kind of evidence for it, and then you can tell the artificial intelligence, tell me all the evidence against it, and it will.
So what's the most unusual?
But what I want to say is call it a system for focusing intention. That's it. Go ahead.
Right. Yeah. What's the most unusual thing you ever read?
The most unusual thing I've ever read.
Right. That you said,
I read a very few pages of the Crystal Tablet, which is a document that is supposedly the holy scripture of Satan worshipers, I guess is what you would call it. When my mentor showed it to me, and that was something that when I was passing my eyes over it, I thought I had this sick feeling in my stomach about it, and I didn't want to have anything to do with it. So that was whatever the question was, the most unusual, the most surprising thing I ever read. That I read something and I thought, I don't want anywhere near this document.
Right. And my last question for you, John, which I'm curious in regard to your answer is, have you ever predict something that later came true?
Yes.
What's that?
I think that what some people call deja vu, that on several occasions, I've seen a scene of my life before it ever happened in a deja vu setting. And then later, it seemed like deja vu, right? So like I have a dream, it seems kind of like deja vu, and then later the thing happens again. I've had that happen on multiple occasions, as if you're all of a sudden flashing into the future somehow.
So since you
but I've never had a precognition of what I would call a major event. I mean, I think that maybe I had some hunches that I didn't pay attention to, but nothing that I could say, yeah, this for sure happened this way, where I had real good precognition of a future event, like a deja vu type of experience.
What I can recall several times you saying to me, this is going to happen definitely, and a couple months after.
Okay, but that's just because of trajectory, right? So if you see a guy and he's a drunk and he's laying in the gutter, his life's not on a good trajectory, right? So the more you stop thinking about yourself and judging other people. So if you don't judge other people, right? So you don't, put stickers on them, say this person's this, and you really neutral about the person. You listen to what they say, as Jesus says, right out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. You listen to the person. It's easy to understand their trajectory, because whatever a person does to you, they will do to someone else, without exception. There is no exception in people's lives. They don't treat one person. They're not manipulative to this person over here, and then they're really kind to their family members. If they're manipulative, they're manipulative. You are who you are in whatever situation. Right?
Well, that's all from my side. Darren?
Well, today I wanted to talk about wealth. And so wealth, I'm not talking about financially or anything like that. So John, I wanted to ask you, what's the wealthiest you have ever felt in your life? And what was happening around you at that time? Is it now? Is it in your past?
Yeah, I think it's got to be now, because I was reading an article yesterday about all the billionaires and all the things that they're doing for their longevity, and they want to live, and they just want to keep on living. And I was kind of just going through that and thinking about all of that train of thought. Tell me your question one more time, Darren, so I don't miss the point.
Well, I was asking, what's the wealthiest you ever felt in your life?
Oh yeah.
What was happening?
I realized that that it's a decision that I make, and the ability to make that decision, to feel a certain way when your external circumstances don't match the same way. That's faith, right? And so that's a peace that passes understanding, and it only comes through developing your relationship with God, with I am, right? You're with your higher self.
Right.
That's the only way that peace comes. That's the feeling of wealth to me, in that it's really just about our relationships in life. Everything just rises and falls on our relationships. And I have a wealth of relationships of people that go back decades.
Right.
And that's to me is what the feeling of wealth is, because money comes and goes, right? Especially in this business, we're gamblers. Money comes and goes, but that kind of wealth in relationships, that's real wealth. And having your time, which is why I came to Costa Rica, because I wanted more life and less work. And so that's what I've gotten. That's what Costa Rica has given me. I'm very grateful.
Well, here in Costa Rica, have you ever met somebody who had nothing but felt wealthier than just about anyone that you've ever known?
Yeah, I mean, you meet a lot of people who don't have very much materially, but feel very wealthy, again, in life and relationships. And so, Anthony's one of those people. He doesn't make it out, but Anthony has 1,000 friends. I mean, and he knows a little bit about everybody, just like a pastor does, right? So he remembers a little bit about everybody. And if you remember a little bit about everybody, you can keep a whole bunch of relationships going. That's why anytime he puts his face on a video in Kuwaita, he can sell whatever, right? He could sell heaters in Kuwaita. Next question. 20-minute mark. 20-minute mark. Next question.
Is there something you have today that you wouldn't trade for any amount of money, any amount of anything else that has nothing to do with achievement or success.
Adri.
Wow.
Time. Adri.
Yeah, I wouldn't trade my wife. That's it. This is not me, but I had this guy that I used to work with for years and years. If you ask him about his wife, he said, I wouldn't take $1 million for her and I wouldn't give a quarter for another one. No, Adri was the first thing that came to mind. He said, you got something in your life you wouldn't trade for anything else. Is that what you meant?
Well, I was going to say, like, time is it an object, or is it what? It could be Adri. That's a great response.
I mean, I would not trade Adri for anything else in the world. I mean, this necklace that came to me from my mentor is the one object that I have that I think I would be really, really distraught for some period of time if it went to the wrong place. Right?
Yeah.
It has it's 430 years old. Just think about that, right? You had 430-year-old coin and all the Brooks history that was with it. And then it's got all my history on it now, right? Brooks has been gone almost 20 years. He got 2 decades of my history on it. And so if you believe that objects can carry legacy, well, again, that thing I'm very attached to.
Right. Do you think it's possible to feel wealthy and still want more?
Well, I guess that depends on your definition of wealthy again.
Right.
I mean, most people when they think
wealthy.
of wealthy think of a lot of money, and then some people would put their definition and say, well, it's a yacht. Until I have a yacht, I'm not wealthy. Until I have 2 homes, I'm not wealthy. I mean, so it's a definition of what they put value on.
Wealth, really, I looked it up before this episode because I just wanted to verify, because I always had it in my mind that wealth truly doesn't mean money. It was brought in later that wealth had something to do with financials. Wealth really is more about happiness, peace of mind. You feel like you have everything that you need. That's what true wealth is.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, but that's not the definition of society, right? That's not when they say wealth. Right. They think money, which quickly comes to power and status.
Exactly.
Right. It just all runs in that direction. The kind of wealth that you have in Costa Rica. I mean, Costa Ricans have to go to the United States and then they come back because they realize the wealth of Costa Rica is its nature and its beauty. And when they go to the United States and they live in New Jersey, for whatever reason, I don't know why so many, but they all congregate in New Jersey, and they go to New Jersey, they see that, which is not a garden state.
Mediocre. Right.
And then they come back here for less money, right? And because Costa Ricans are very, very well educated, never think for a minute if you come here, this is a bunch of uneducated people. It is not, especially in Heredia. These are educated people, right? University educated, smart people. And they're good at paying attention. I mean, really, to me, just excellent students, the way that the families encourage education, all of that. So anyway, all right. Are we done?
I got one more question for you.
All right,
have you ever tried to give someone everything for them to feel whole, and you still watch them feel poor inside?
You mean like have ever seen someone who has everything and they're still feeling poor inside?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yes. A lot. I mean, frequently. So this situation came to mind with a person that I was in a vehicle with who was worth $50-60 million. And we were on an icy road and the vehicle in front of us was going not unreasonably slow, but slow, right? And he could not pass them because the roads were icy and curvy. And he got very, very upset about that. And I just thought, if I was worth that kind of money, well, I certainly would not be this upset about taking an extra 10 minutes to go down this icy road. But I see people that sometimes they have absolutely everything and they just don't realize it. Now realize that it's really, really going good. And what you need to pay attention to is the people in your circle, the relationships in your circle, not stuff. Because stuff comes and goes too, right? All rots, gets old. We don't come here to accumulate stuff, right? None of that gets taken with you. But if you're greedy, you sure can take greed with you, right? Into the next lifetime. And why? Contentment is what I want to take with me. I want to take satisfaction in the moment, in the present. I want to take that with me. And so if I'm going to reincarnate again, so those tendencies come back with me.
Yeah. I was just going to say, I think when it comes to us being down here in Costa Rica, we learn about objects. They rot much faster than anywhere else.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you got a book and you got a book or photos and you set it in a box somewhere, you look at it 5-6 months down the road and you haven't opened it up since, it's not going to look the same. It's not going to smell the same. That's for sure.
Do not bring your stuff. Do not bring your book collection. Not to Kawita. No way. Kawita eats everything.
That's right.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Collection, and it's also eat your stress, your worries.
This is the Made in Paradise podcast, sponsored by Proven Performer. We sell big closeout deals. Today, we're going to talk about some sneakers, men's and ladies sneakers from Mission Ridge and Bobby Brooks. These are manifested. A total of 45,456 pieces, 3 trailers of sneakers. They're about 50-50 men's and women's, all in common sizes. You can see there how they're packed. We can show another picture here how they're packed there, all by size. It's just 3 trailers again. Here's, we've got a short video showing what they're like. They're very nice. You know, we say older folks' shoes, is that what these are?
Yep.
Yeah. It's granddad's utility shoes. Grandma's utility shoes. Yeah, right.
Look at that elasticity.
Very comfortable. Supposedly a $29.95 retail. There's a couple of different styles, men's and ladies, and they're fully manifested. You can reach out to us below via WhatsApp on those phone numbers or email. We'd be happy to send you the details on this product. You can inspect it, EXW Texas, if you want to. 3 trailers, Bobby Brooks and Mission Ridge shoes, fully manifested, $1.75 a pair. We would love to sell them to you. Reach out and talk to us. If you have another closeout deal that you need help moving, consultation is always free. We'd be happy to talk to you about that. This has been the Made in Paradise podcast. We're here Monday through Friday, every day of the week. For my co-hosts, Darren Fingleton and Anthony Ferguson, and I'm John Clark. Have a great Tuesday. See you tomorrow.
Bye, guys.